Welcome back to News Talk for this half hour. Dr. Stephen Cusin is here, patient advocate extraordinaire. And today we're talking about something called zip code medicine. And this is fascinating. We were talking about it during the break.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter what you have. What matters is where you have it. Your location in this country, and then just last week, Dartmouth came up with the atlas for New York State and the mid-Atlantic states. Depending on where you live, the recommendation for what you get is going to be vastly different. You take a trip on the thruway, start up from New York and follow that map to Buffalo. If you're a woman with early breast cancer, the difference between getting a full mastectomy and not getting a mastectomy varies tremendously from region to region. And it has nothing to do with science. It has nothing to do with patient preference. It has to do with what doctors in the region, what they like to do, and the habit. That's doctor and specialty-driven medicine. I call it, a situation where if you go to Midas Muffler, you're always going to get a muffler. And the other is what the hospital supplies. If the hospital has a center that does something, they're going to send you to it. If you build it, they will come.
They will come. The field of dreams effect. And so, in essence, it's to explain a little further to people. You're talking about a matter of they're going to send you somewhere where they have, this technology to go do something. And because that place has that technology, you're more likely to actually have that procedure done.
Right. If we're going to do it, if there's such a thing as a Davagram and Utica didn't do a Davagram, they'd send you regionally. But if we develop the technology here and get a doctor here who does a Davagram, not only will it just be the numbers we used to send out, the numbers will triple and quadruple. So if there is a supply, it'll be seen to. If there are doctors who do it, it will be done. And Dartmouth looked at blockage of the arteries, of the heart and neck. They looked at gallbladders. They looked at breast cancer surgery, prostate cancer surgery, and other surgeries. And they found dramatic variations. And when they came out in the mid-Atlantic states just a couple of weeks ago, even within the Utica area, what's the issue? Here in the Utica area, in central New York, the least hospital-intensive unit is Little Falls. And the most intensity of care is St. Luke's. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean it's Little Falls is giving too little care, or St. Luke's is giving too much? Nobody knows. It's just the variation. And so people should be aware, when it comes down to practical advice, that doctors don't seek out patient preferences. If they did, the map would be far more uniform. Patients need to weigh in. If, for example, you went for an ultrasound, I was looking at your kidney, and we happened to find gallstones. Here's what could happen. You're informed they have gallstones and nothing is done. You take a pill to dissolve them. You go get ultrasound to explode them, break them up. You get surgery, maybe open, maybe laparoscopic. And if it's a laparoscopic, maybe it'll be 3-port, maybe it'll be 1-port. So from nothing to the newest and the latest and the greatest. And depending on where you are in the state, the recommendation will change, and no one's going to ask you what you want.
What can a patient do from their perspective? Because sometimes people are wary of even, speaking up when they're sitting in the doctor's office. What can they do to combat a procedure that's not necessary or something that may not be required, finding out what those other options are? What's their best venue?
It's a hard sell, but it's my feeling that, just like for lawyers never ask a question of a witness unless they already know the answer. They don't want surprises. I think patients should go into offices, and they should have a rough idea of what the answers should be to the questions that they ask. And the questions are very simple. What alternatives do I have? Is there anything I can do other than have my gallbladder out? How about watchful waiting? Are there pills for this? What happens if I don't do anything? And then what I do for a living is at a shared decision center. That's where people come. But I see a very select group of people who are automatically suspicious, automatically skeptical, and they're very well versed in the medical literature, and they come to learn more. But I think it can be done by simply knowing the answers, by going to good sites and good reference points. So when you ask, you found these stones just by accident. I've never had any symptoms. Look up on the computer, gallbladder stones, no symptoms. You'll get plenty of information.
Do your research before you go in.
Know the answers.
All right, now we want to mention here that if you've got questions for Dr. Cusin, you can send them to us at news@WKTV.com, and we will pass them along for his next appearance here on News Talk. Dr. Cusin, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.